and other things. So I did the one video about the intro to kind of sex, dating, whatnot. Um, and yeah, so I figured since I'm already here and I have myself, you know, looked semi-decent, I wanted to touch on, because I have my list of things that I wanted to touch on. I think maybe a good, I have a lot, there's a lot that I wrote a list of things. Oh, okay. Ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing. Can red flags turn green? That's what I wrote. That's a good one. I think I want to touch on. I'm gonna have a lot of videos that I can upload later on, but so I might post this later on. But here we go. My thoughts on that. And again, disclaimer: I'm not a therapist. I'm a certified child abuse specialist. I did get trained to psychosocially assess behavior and development in children and their families. And I worked very closely, like in a multidisciplinary team, with psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers, and I studied my master's in developmental psychology and my bachelor's in sociology. So I'm not an authority. I'm not a licensed like clinician. I am a certified, clinical professional. And so take what I say with a grain of salt and do what you will with it. But everyone's journey is different and it's subjective to your experience. So what I wanted to share was that the topic of, what was it, ghosting? I just had it. Ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing. So I didn't know that these were terms. I forgot where I first, I think it was on Instagram. There was it came on my home feed and it's like all these weird terms that I did not know existed. I don't know if they're considered millennial terms. But ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing. I wish I can find the thing on Instagram. I don't know how, I'm not like I don't know, where is it? Oh, I like that quote. This guy said it, waiting to be perfectly healed before you let yourself love someone is going to an unnecessary extreme. No one enters a relationship as a flawless human being. Very true. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. I can't. Where is it? How do I find? I wish someone could tell. How do I find bookmarked? Saved? Is it under saved? I don't know. Well, anyways, I might have to. It was okay. I'm not gonna. Anyway, so there's these terms that are used in the dating world that are like, what I know is the only ones I know are ghosting, benching, and breadcrumbing. And there's one that if someone comes back to life, I forgot when an ex comes back. I'm gonna look. What is it called? Is it called resurrecting? I don't know what it's called. What is the slang term for when an ex comes back into your life? No! Oh, zombieing. Zombieing. That's what it's called. I was like, I didn't know. Where did I put it? Hold on. Zombieing. This is what I was like, what is it? So anyways, ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing, zombieing. How can red flags turn green? That's a good topic. Here's from a psychological perspective, I guess a clinical perspective. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I didn't go to do a residency anywhere, but I've just, from what I've learned and what the things I've observed and acquired, can red flags turn green? Maybe. Here's why. We all go through periods of isolation, deprivation, neglect, fear. Maybe you experienced abuse. There has to be, to have growth, you have to have self-awareness. There has to be a sense of maturity. There has to also be authenticity. It is scientifically known, and I don't have like the evidence-based reach, I can't be like, oh, according to article, whatever. But it's known scientifically that men mature later than women. Even their brain, in terms of brain development, I don't know if it's their frontal lobe or some part of their brain with executive functioning, logic, and reasoning develops later on. So, that being said, it might not be till 40 years old that some men are like, and I'm not trying to gear this to be a video of for like a woman, like for women, right? A video by a woman for women. I wanted it to be generalized. Now, I do realize I use a lot of like girly colors. I like pink and whatever, and for the title videos and whatnot. But I wanted to, I think, make this non-gender specific. So, because anyone could go through ghosting, benching, zombieing, breadcrumbing, right? There's a quote that I'd like to say: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. That is so true. You will know whether someone is genuinely interested in you or not by their responsiveness, their eagerness, right, and the complexity of their responses. What do I mean by that? Responsiveness in terms of, I look at it like we all have our phones on us. We all do. Our phone is like a 1, 2, 3. I had to count my extremities. Is like a fifth appendage, meaning like everyone. And now if you're someone who has great discipline and you're like, I'm not going to be on my phone, I'm going to put my phone away, I'm going to put on do not disturb, kudos to you, because I'm still practicing that, because I'm very much tied to my phone because of the emails and, you know, if you're applying to jobs and just in general, right? I want to like allot time where I don't go on my phone as much, because I don't think it's healthy for mentally and emotionally. And plus there's other things that you can be doing that are more productive. So my thoughts, but what I like to think is responsiveness, eagerness, and what did I say? Complexity of their responses to you. People that are interested in you, they will respond to you within a timely manner. What do I mean by that? They're not going to go a day, 2 days, 3 days. Now, I understand some people, if you're very, very busy, let's say you're a neurosurgeon, let's say you are a very well-respected, busy lawyer. Let's say you have a job that's very demanding and time-consuming versus like, you know, people that if there's lulls or breaks in like a server, like when you're a server and it's like, let's say you have no tables, right? You're going to be in the back. Now, I'm the kind of person, I'm weird. Like I always like to keep busy, especially when I was a server. I was doing napkins, I was doing all these things, whatever. That's just me. You know, you always want to be circulating the dining room. I'm not going to give a whole thing about PSA about serving. But my point is like, let's say you do have a job that allows you some downtime. Maybe you're on break. You're like, hey, you know, and everyone, let's be honest, everyone goes on breaks and jobs. That's why if a guy automatically, let's say a guy takes more than like a day or two to write me, I will automatically unmatch from him because I already know that like there's no interest, right? Because if they're interested in you, they'll put forth the effort, right? Like me, like if I'm interested in somebody, I will go and I'll put forth the effort versus like, and this doesn't also mean a dating app, this just means in general. It even applies to jobs, right? So I encourage you, if at the first sight you notice like if there's a lull in response, number one, red flag, right? Number two, the eagerness. It kind of goes along with in terms of the interest of the responsiveness, right? Why are there balloons? All of a sudden I do this and balloons start going. What is that about? Eagerness, right? Are they making plans to meet up with you? Do they say, hey, I want to have coffee with you, or I want to see you, right? I want to call you on the phone. That shows that they care. That shows that they're genuinely interested in you. And there's there's really no excuse of like, I just heard something vibrate. I'm like, what vibrate? I don't know if it's my phone. That's the way I see it. because everyone goes on break. I'm not working right now, so I have all the time in the world. I can talk to whatever, and but I'm not going to spend hours swiping people on a dating app. There's other things that I have take priority in my life, but I do want to socialize and meet people. But responsiveness, eagerness, complexity. What do I mean by that? A guy who answers you, or a woman, let's say you're a man and you're watching my video and you're like, but you like women or whatever. Or maybe you're a guy and you like guys. I don't care. I think it's a universal thing. Communication and behavior, those are universal things, right? They can be generalized to anyone and everything. So, how I see it is complexity. If a guy answers you and they're not asking you questions, it's all very like, to keep, because when you think, if you want to have a conversation with someone, how do you develop a conversation with somebody? You talk, you ask questions. It's didactic. The same thing as you would the rapport you have in an instructor kind of capacity, like where you have a professor and they engage you in conversation. You have this good rapport. You're learning. That's didactic, right? Learning. So it's the kind of same. There's this reciprocity of person A, person B. Oh, how's the weather today? Oh, the weather's good. Do you like sunny weather? Yes, I like sunny weather. Do you like sunny weather? No, not so much. I kind of prefer the more like cool climates, maybe where it's whatever. Oh, really? Oh, that's great. Like, have you lived somewhere a long time? Like, have you lived somewhere where there are climates like that? Yeah, I used to live in Colorado, or I used to I don't know, where is it cold? I don't know. Like where is it like a normal climate? Like I don't know. Like somewhere, oh, I lived in Ohio, and we had really good, there's like summers, winters, the seasons are pretty balanced. Oh, that's nice. Do you like to do anything during those the winter months? Like, what's your favorite thing to do? Oh yeah, I go skiing, whatever. During the summer I like to go hiking in the mountains. Really? Oh my gosh, I've never gone hiking. What are your favorite places to go hiking to? I don't know. I'm not really into hiking, so I don't know. But a guy would come back with like, oh yeah, I go hiking, whatever. Do you like? How come you've never gone hiking? Has anyone taken you? No, I've never been taken hiking or whatever. I usually like to stay. I'm kind of someone who stays indoors, but I will go like swimming or play tennis. Oh, you play tennis? Oh, that's really cool. Like, who's your favorite tennis? That's a conversation. So there's this consistency. Oh, I should write that down. I'm gonna write that down. If anything, I could be a dating coach one day or a life coach. But consistency in communication is key. And then I said responsiveness, eagerness. I'm trying to remember this for me when I take my own advice, and complexity in messaging, right? So that's what I think. Those are like the telltale signs. So the red flags would be the ghosting, the benching, the breadcrumbing, the zombieing. And what do I mean by that? So if you're talking to someone and they decide to ghost, so there's a book that I have that I like about boundaries. So I found that she lives in North Carolina. I didn't know this was in the back of her book. And she is she's a is she a licensed, she's a relationship coach. I think she's a social worker as well. But she says, how do you deal with ghosting? This is what she says: ending things without explanation or disappearing is often called ghosting, and it is an unhealthy response to boundaries. People who are passive-aggressive use this response. Rather than stating their objection, they try to show you how they feel through their actions. Ghosting happens right away or a few days after you've made your wishes known. It's generally a form of punishment, which I didn't know that. I did not know that. It means ghosting looks like not answering calls or texts, canceling plans, keeping in touch with mutual friends or contacts, but leaving you out. And then she explains how to handle ghosting. And there's also silent treatment, people who give the silent treatment, but it's still painful. And it's passive aggressive, and it says it's a form of punishing you for trying to set the boundary. She says, and this is advice taken from here. It says, send a precise, and this is the book Up Close. It's about setting boundaries. It says, send a precise text message or email mentioning the behavior you're noticing. People are likely to respond because they don't want you to seem upset when they are. Express how the ghosting is making you feel and the concerns you have about the relationship. If receiving a response takes a few days, be clear to restate how the ghosting makes you feel. If you don't receive a response, remind yourself that their reaction was not about you. So don't take it personal. It was about their interpretation of the situation. So I would just, to me, I think ghosting is great. I mean, it's not great, but it gives you an idea of where someone is at in terms of their maturity level. Think about it. If someone doesn't have the common decency or common courtesy or the bravery to tell you, hey, I'm not interested in you, or hey, this is too hard, or I'm not compatible with you, instead of instead of having the courage and bravery to address those things, what's happening is that they're negating. They don't want to deal with what's making it uncomfortable, or like she said, it's a passive aggressive way to deal with conflict. And so if you're someone who got ghosted by somebody, don't go, oh my god, they don't like me, what is it about me? No, they couldn't meet you at the level that you're at. They couldn't communicate with you consistently. And so in order to deal with things, think about it. Think about if a person doesn't have the common courtesy to treat you with respect, to be able to be cordial enough to say, hey, I'm not interested in you, or hey, I'm at a weird place in my life, and I don't know how you fit into that, then maybe they're not someone that you want for you. Or maybe they have maybe they're in a relationship already, and they were lying or they're cheating, and they don't know how to tell you the truth, so they distance themselves from you. There's so many different things that it could be, but the behavior itself, take it with humility. I wouldn't say don't be a doormat and be like, it's acceptable, because someone, especially when it gets with exes and stuff, it can be kind of murky, and you don't know, or someone that you previously dated, maybe not an ex, but someone you dated and, maybe hooked up with or whatever. Give yourself grace and humility. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it personally. It's not you, it's them. And see them where they're at. Now, can a red flag go green? Can ghosting, which is a red flag, can that go green? It would take a hell of a lot of maturity on that person that decided to cut communication with you to come back and resurrect themselves and be like, I'm ready now. I'm whole and I'm happy and I've done my shadow work and homework and I'm ready. Here's the thing. This is the way life works. When they had you, if they dropped you and they didn't have the common decency and courtesy enough to respect you, here's how it's going to work. You're going to already either be moved on in your life to a new state, a new city, or taken by somebody else who does respect you. And by then it's going to be too late. That's the way life usually works. Or you'll be healed and you'll be moved on and you're on to brighter, better pastures, and so I would like I said, give yourself grace. And again, it's the sense of when someone shows you who they are, believe them, because if they don't have the maturity, like I said, to have open, honest communication with you, and they have to demonstrate this behavior of distancing and neglect you, that's not really someone you want to have around, because that means that they're mentally and emotionally unstable. That means that they're giving you mixed signals. They don't know what they want. So don't take that as like an affront to you, like, oh, they don't like me, they're teaching. Maybe it is a form of punishment, but take it as, okay, you're clearly showing disinterest in me, or you clearly don't know what you want, so I'm going to give you that space and time to figure it out, but I'm not going to wait for you. I hope that makes sense. That's kind of how I see it, because if someone shows me that they don't respect me enough to reply back to a message that I send to them, because a text message, at the end of the day, a text message is the same thing as a conversation as you would have in person. It's just digital, right? It's through a phone. So it's like, imagine if you just, that would be a really good parody or a skit. Like you personify or you portray text messaging communication in real life. Ghosting would look like someone, you're having a conversation, and then all of a sudden the person gets up and leaves, just without any preface of like anything. They just boop, they get up and leave. That's what ghosting would be. And that's not in terms of social norms in society, that's not really a normal thing for behavior. Usually you have consistency in communication and whatnot. So um, that's what I say. Ghosting, is it permissible? Is it acceptable? Can a red flag go green? They would, I don't know. To me, they'd have to demonstrate a lot of maturity and authenticity and accountability, because they would have to be someone who says, yeah, I'm sorry. And I've had it too, where I've been on the other side of it, where the guy says, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to your message, and it's months later, or it's like weeks later, and they're like, I was busy. Cut that man out or that woman out and never look back. And it might be hard because you're like, oh my god, this sex was so good, we had such good passion, he's so cute. No, if he can't respect you enough to give you a timely message, then guess what? He doesn't respect you. You're like a fun side thing, you know. When a guy really shows interest in you, they won't ghost you. And it, again, it says nothing about you, it's everything about them. The other term is benching. Did I put that on there? Benching. Benching is, I'll show you enough interest in you to keep you. I'll show you enough interest in you to keep you interested, which is kind of almost the same thing as breadcrumbing, I would like to think. Which means that, like, someone's gonna keep you around and give you just enough interested to keep you interested, but it's not gonna be total interest, meaning, like, they're not gonna be totally, like, invested in you. They're gonna basically, like, keep you at arm's length, but then they're gonna give you enough attention to, it's like baiting, basically. They're gonna throw the line, and they're gonna put the bait, and then you're gonna catch it, and then they're gonna reel it up, but they caught you, but they're not gonna keep you. If that makes sense? So if you're being benched or breadcrumbed, no. Your self-worth and your self-respect is so much, like, women these days, I wish, like, and that's the thing, it's like, they wonder, they go, oh no, but he doesn't, whatever, he doesn't, and it's like, bro, because you're enabling it. You're not choosing you, you're not choosing to work on yourself, you're not choosing to do the necessary work you need, you're looking for compassion. And let me tell you, I get it, like, let me tell you, there's nothing more wonderful than being in bed with someone, and I've learned this now after being sexually active, there's nothing more, even, and actually I take it back, even if you're not sexually active, there is nothing as wonderful as getting a genuine hug from somebody, or sleeping besides. Sometimes the cuddling is better than the actual sex itself. It's just better to, like, it feels so comforting to have someone hold you while you're sleeping, because you feel safe in their arms, you feel held, you feel appreciated, valued. Because anyone can have sex with somebody, but have someone who actually cares about you and loves you and holds you, bro, that's like, there's nothing better than that, except a dog. I will say that dogs, right, baby? Dogs make everything better. And cats. Cats are cute too. I don't want to, like, cut cats out. But yeah, your self-worth, and you have more self-respect than that, and staying, you know, like, I'm dealing with a situation right now with somebody, I'm not going to say the name, someone who came back out of nowhere. Like, this was somebody that I don't remember how it ended or how it was left off, but basically, I forgot the conversation. I don't remember how it ended or whatever, but I think I'd cut. It was back and forth. I said no, this is whatever, and then he was at first fighting for it. No, I want to talk to you. I want to see you. And then I said no because I felt like I was being catfished, and then I get a text recently from this person. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, where did this come? Like, whoa, you know. And it was like, oh, you cross my mind every now and again, and I'm like, oh, okay, and, you know, the conversation, and, you know, and I'm not, it's weird, because it's not like, it's someone that I did go out with, or, you know, connect with in the past, and it's like, you know, you don't take it to heart, and I'm not, but by his behavior, it demonstrates to me he doesn't really, I don't think, care, you know, and it's weird, some people don't know what they want in life, so, you know, yeah, I may cross someone's mind from time to time, but not enough for you to say, hey, I want to invest in you to get to know you again. So you let it be. That's, you know, when ghosting, that's why I say if someone's, like, don't resurrect the dead, basically, is what it is. If someone died, don't resurrect them. Let them be. Because if they couldn't treat you right when they had you, then they don't deserve you. And if you cut them off for a reason, there's keep that. Like, don't, and a lot of times I've learned people don't know how to communicate healthy, like in a healthy way, or be open and honest. People are very either evasive or ambiguous. They don't want to deal with the elephant in the room, so they use passive aggressive behavior um, to kind of lessen the burden of the communication, or evade, right, the communication altogether. So I think in terms of, like I said, benching, I was going to say bookmarking, breadcrumbing is also another thing. I think benching happens when you're ready you've established a connection with somebody. Breadcrumbing, I think, can happen before you've actually have a connection with somebody. It can happen in the sense, breadcrumbing is when someone leads you on, meaning they breadcrumb you. Because when you think about breadcrumbs, what are breadcrumbs? They're little teeny tiny little, they're not a whole piece of pancito, they're like a little teeny tiny piece of bread. And they taste really good, they're really crunchy, but you can't really do much with them. You put them in the plate, and mind you, you can tell I'm a foodie, but you put in the plate and you can't really, like, you can just be like, and like a little mouse. So if you want the whole piece of pancito and the tostadito, you want to do, like, you want to dip it in the olive oil, you want to get the balsamic vinegar going, and the pimienta and the pepper and all that stuff, go for the gold. Like, go for the man. And if it'll take time. And you may have to, what I told myself is, I'm going to have to kiss a few frogs to meet, not like an actual prince, but you're going to have to kiss a few frogs, a few catfishes to meet the right person. Because that's what you do. You have to, now some people you're like, F it, I don't want to deal with anybody. I'm out of because I've been in the point where I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with the dating anymore. Like, I'm out of it. It's too emotionally taxing. And that's another thing too. If it's more toxic and karmic, if you're having more arguments with someone, then if you're crying more than laughing, then that's a karmic connection. That's a connection. What do I mean by karmic? The push-pull dynamic. It's not going to be like, you want to have a connection with someone where you're laughing more than crying. And if you're a woman and you're in a marriage or relationship and you are miserable, either go to counseling, get therapy, or have a sit-down conversation, or consider divorcing that person, because your happiness and your self-worth is it's not worth keeping a relationship around with somebody and staying with somebody because you don't want to be miserable and lonely. I get it, when people have kids it gets harder or whatever, but let me tell you, there's nothing better than loving yourself and being happy with yourself. It's gonna suck. I'm not gonna say like, oh, if a guy goes to you, you're gonna be like, yay! I just, from a clinical perspective, I understand people's behavior, so it's like, I don't look at it like, oh, I look at it more like his loss, my gain type of thing. That's the way I see it. And actually, that's a co-worker of mine that was a server when I was in Miami. He told me that when there was a guy that I was waiting on, or someone else was waiting on, and I thought he was cute, and and he gave me his business card, right? I was going to give him my number, and he gave me his business card almost as if to say, reach out to me, call me. First of all, if a guy ever does that and gives you a business card, no, don't. And I think, I don't remember if I think I might have reached out to him. I can't recall. I don't know. I don't know if I reached out to him, and I don't know if I emailed him. I don't remember. I don't think I did, but he didn't, I don't think he didn't ask for my number. And what my coworker said is, Ashley, it's his loss, your gain, which means it's the perspective of, you didn't lose that. He lost you because you're the prize. You're the one that they didn't want to pursue, so let it be, So that's kind of how I see it. And any man that, and this is another thing in terms of breadcrumbing, baiting, benching, if anyone has the audacity to treat you like an option, don't make them a priority. Meaning, they're only, because like I said, everyone has their phones on them. We're such a connected society. There's social media, there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's LinkedIn. There's so many avenues now where you can connect with people. If someone treats you like an option, do not make them a priority. That doesn't, and I've learned this the hard way. I was such a people pleaser growing up, meaning I used to feel so bad if I never wanted to be mean to someone, I never wanted to hurt someone's feelings, so I would acquiesce and I would subdue or suppress my true emotions about how I felt about somebody, because, and I never wanted to stir the pot. I never wanted to cause confrontation. I was so non-confrontational growing up. You wouldn't catch me dead. Put it this way, I was the type of person, if someone stepped on my toe, I'd be the person to say I'm sorry. And I've had that happen numerous times. I would be the person, I'd hold the door open for someone and they wouldn't say thank you, I would just let them go, right? Or if I bumped into somebody, or like if they bumped into me, I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I would be, when servers used to take my order, I used to be like, can I have, yes, I'm sorry, can I get that on the side? Like, I would feel bad for asking for what I wanted. So now I'm like, no, you are special, you are a prize, and if someone doesn't notice that or see that, then guess what? Then they're not meant for you. Because you want the person that's going to say, hey, I like you, and I want to get to know you. And it doesn't matter the circumstances. I don't care if you are, I'm going to make a joke, a targeted individual, right? And you are, or someone that, someone is making life hard for you, right? You want the person that's going to say, there's a song that comes to mind, Taylor Swift's song called Delicate comes to mind, and this was when she was, the thing happened with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian with the phone call where it was exposed about them saying that Taylor Swift knew all along about whatever. It was just, there was beef, right? And then she came out and she did her album Reputation, and she basically said, like, that's when she started dating the guy Joe Alwyn, the guy from the UK, where the song Delicate basically says, like, she said, this ain't for the best, my reputation's never been worse, so he must like me for me, right? The person, no matter what anyone says about you, they talk shit about you, they try to slander your name, they ruin your character, whatever it is, the person that's going to be for you is going to be like, I'm going to get to know them anyways because they're worth getting to know, and I don't want that person to slip through my fingers and let someone else take them, because whatever, out of fear, whatever. So my point is that, again, don't treat someone like an option, don't treat someone like a priority if they make you an option, because what that's going to look like is someone only meeting you halfway, someone breadcrumbing you, someone benching you. They're going to basically give you just the bare minimum to keep you hooked, right? To keep you hooked onto their line versus giving you the time and attention that you deserve. And I'm not talking, I don't mean like texting every single minute of the day. I mean, hey, good morning, how are you? How's your day? Oh, it's going great. I hope you have a great day. Oh, hey, I'm on break. Hope your day is going well. Did anything interesting happen? Oh, no, maybe I burned my finger. Oh, no. Do you need help with that? Or if you need, not to dote on somebody, but like, I'm the kind of person, if someone was sick, I'd make them soup, or I'd get them medicine, that's who I am. But that's what I mean by going, like, someone that's an option, they're gonna have a roster, right? And you're gonna be number whatever on the roster. If you're okay with being on someone's roster, then kudos to you. Just, if you're fine with the bare minimum, okay. But to me, I'm not fine with the bare minimum. I want to be treated, I treat people with respect naturally, so I expect the same. That is to say, I will say this, don't expect so much from people. Keep your expectations low. That's why I say hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Because if someone doesn't meet you where you want them to meet you, what's going to happen is that you're going to be left heartbroken. You're going to always take things personally. You're never going to truly amount to a certain level of maturity that dictates that you can cope with resistance, rejection, change, opposition, things like that. And those are things that are important because rejection, adversity builds character. So my point is that if someone ghosts you, let them ghost you. It says nothing about you. And I've had that. I've been on the other end of it where and I've been the person where I've cut people out and I go, you know what, maybe I'll give them a second chance, and they've ghosted me, and rightly so. They have every right to, because maybe I was wishy-washy, maybe I was indecisive, maybe I wasn't ready for what they were offering, and vice versa. I'm really thirsty all of a sudden. I need to go to the bathroom. 2 seconds. Which I may pause this. Which really, at the end of the day, that's nothing more that I wish to say about that, but I think, yeah, don't accept the bare minimum. You're worth more than that. And don't have a big ego about it, like, oh, I'm a prize and I deserve. No, it's about common courtesy. It's about being humane. It's about treating your fellow person with respect. If someone can't treat you with respect, if they treat you like whatever, guess what? There's 7 billion people in the world. I promise you, out of those 7 to 8 billion people, there will be somebody. And if you are single, don't define yourself as having a single status. Don't say, oh, I'm not partnered, I'm not married, everyone else is married. Who the fuck cares? Did anyone die from not getting married? No. Are you gonna shrivel up? There's so many people that are probably single that are wonderful people who have so many lived experiences, that are like a plethora of knowledge. Professors, teachers, nurses, educators, doctors. Marriage is not the end all be all. I used to define my worth by whether or not a guy liked me, or whether I was going to get married, whether I had a boyfriend. Let me tell you, if we base our self-worth on whether or not someone finds us attractive, man, are we totally out of whack with life. Like, you want to base your self-worth on whether, to me, I look at it as, what have I contributed to society? How have I made a positive impact on somebody's life in some way? What have I learned or acquired as a lesson in the past 10, 15 years? That's how I define my worth. If your worth is dependent on whether a guy... I remember I had a coworker once where she was so unsettled at the fact that a man wasn't texting her back. She literally, her mood, she said, Ashley, my mood right now is like, I need him. Like, if I don't hear from him, I'm going to be so sad. And I'm like, why? I'm like, you're a beautiful person. She was a nurse. I was like, you're an amazing nurse. You're so funny. You're so vivacious. You're so bubbly. You have so much to offer. You're going to let some turd ball, who probably doesn't know what the fuck he wants, make you feel a certain way? I was like, really? No. I was like, your self-worth, you're more than that. So I'm here to tell you that if you're going to define it like ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing, baiting, whatever the fuck it is, a mature man, a mature woman is not going to do that to you. They're not going to play games. If you're in your 30s, put it this way, if you're in your 30s and a man is still playing games with you, boo-boo, no. Why? Why are you going to stay? Why? Enjoy your time. Go for a walk. Bake a cookie. Read a book. Sing. Plant a garden. I don't know. Go volunteer at a hospital. And then when you volunteer, you might meet the love of your life. Right? You may meet your future wife at a pottery class or a seminar for healing from trauma. Who knows? There's so many different things. And it's like, I hate the fact that, like, and you might say, oh, who are you to speak? I've gone through, I don't look like what I've been through. I've been through so much ish. And yes, I haven't been physically hurt, even though actually I take it back. I do think I was like, there was intention for people to like try to physically harm me, but I like overcame that. Just don't settle. Don't settle. And there's so much out there in the world that you can do, that you can expand your consciousness. You can go on a retreat, go to a yoga retreat, make new friends, take a course online. There's like Coursera, there's Harvard Extension School, UC Santa Barbara Extension School. And it's funny because I say all this and I'm like, there's so many things. And mind you, I've done a lot of work on myself to get to where I am now, to feel healed or whatnot. And I can't say I'm fully healed. I'm not. I'm almost there. I don't think anyone's truly fully healed. You know how to cope with things better. And yeah, so give yourself grace, give yourself humility. I probably will do a video on forgiveness. And forgive yourself for not knowing better. And sometimes too, the reason why I think sometimes we stay with people that we know are not right for us is because we don't want to be alone. And that could mean family, friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, relationships, a job. Our soul, I think, calls us. Like, there's a certain moment where an alarm goes off and goes, wait, I don't deserve this. I want better. Because if you're waking up every day miserable next to somebody, And you're in it. You have a relationship, you're in it. They're your wife, they're your husband, they're the father of your children, the mother of your children, but you're miserable because you fell out of love, or you're just, they became a roommate, which that is a whole other topic. Maybe you need to revive the spark. But for me, the way I see it is that life is short, so you owe it to yourself to be happy, to go after what it is that you deserve. Sometimes it means staying single for 5 years, maybe 10 years. And then guess what? In that 11th year or that 15th year, you may go to another country, or Argentina or Germany or Finland or Sweden, and you may be on the bus. And then guess what? You sit down next to someone and they're reading the same book as you, and you're like, holy shit, you're my soulmate. You like the same books as me. And then boom, all that time you spent, those 10 years that you're like, fuck, I'm alone. Guess what? You were being cultivated. You were being molded into the person that you needed to be with said book lover, nerdy dude or girl. That's the way it works. There's no recipe for that, I don't think, but I will say, when it comes to self-worth and behavior and stuff like that, it's not worth settling for less than what you deserve. And I do believe there is somebody for everybody. That's just my opinion. I do believe that, like, there are people out there who jive with your vibe, and, you know, like, there's somebody for everybody. Someone who's obsessed with Star Wars, someone who's into Game of Thrones. Maybe you make Legos all day. Maybe you're into making graphic design t-shirts. Maybe you're a small business owner. Whatever it is, there's always, I think, gonna be somebody for everybody. That's just my take on it. And if you don't have that person, you're not any less of a person for being single. You're not any less of a person for demanding respect, or, you know, or choosing you. And on the flip side of it, if you're married and people get on you for being in a monogamous relationship, fuck it. Who gives a shit? If you're happy, that's all that matters. You know, if you have someone who supports you, guides you, mentors you, or is there for you through thick and thin and hell and high water, and you love them to pieces, and they're your best friend, and, you know, and your friend is like, but no, join us, have a sex party. No. Be happy where you are. And if you have a lovely family, be happy with that. You know, so it could range from anything. It isn't ghosting, benching, whatever. It's having human decency. It's common courtesy. And if people can't demonstrate that common courtesy towards you, then guess what? Maybe they're not for you. I'd rather be alone and happy than married and miserable to the wrong person. I'd rather be alone by myself, you know, watching a TV show or like a comedy show, than like hooking up with someone that I know doesn't really care about me and just wants me maybe only for my body, or you know, is, you know, lying to me and just I'm entertaining to them or whatever. You know, there's numerous reasons why people connect with people, but I will say though that if you settle for somebody that's it's basically breeding codependency. And codependency is bad, because what's going to happen is that you're going to base your worth and your feelings and your moods on someone else and how they treat you, and that's not right. Because if you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be miserable, because that person is never going to be the person that you want them to be, and you're going to basically, your whole world is going to revolve around whether they like you or not, and that's not right. And you're going to gravitate them towards times of confusion, disruption, and especially if there's someone that can't really meet you where you're at, not like physically, I mean like emotionally, mentally, you're going to be left really like sad, because you're going to base your happiness and your self-worth and your mood upon somebody else, and that's not fair to put that on them. So I hope that helps somebody. And life is a journey. We're all works in progress. And but the beautiful thing about psychology and behavior is that you get to kind of like, you get to learn about people, you know. Like, I think behavioral studies and behavioral psychology is so cool, and that's why I studied developmental psychology, because I love just learn about people. So yeah, And don't give up hope, because there's so many people out there. And I do think that the universe does, at the end of the day, conspire for us, not against us. Um, so don't settle for less than what you deserve. And if you're alone because of it, then fuck it. Like, do something eventful. There's so many things to do in this world. And if someone comes at you and is like targeting you and bullying you, then smile. Kill him with kindness. And if someone tries to change your perspective or sway you to live a different lifestyle, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't make you dance and sing and lighten your heart, then guess what? It's not for you. Never ever change yourself or compromise your morals to make someone else happy, or to be more liked or whatever. It's not worth it. Trust me, it's not. After the shit that I've gone through the past few years, I've learned that, like, you are going to be your best advocate, and you can't rely on anyone else to make you happy. I used to tell my yoga students, you are your own happiness, right? And because the thing is, when you place your value and your worth externally from yourself, when you seek validation from another person, which is traditionally what happens in codependency, what's going to happen is that you're going to be left unhappy, because that person most likely won't be able to give you what you need, and you're going to end up forcing them to be something that they're not, or you're not going to learn how to be able to cope through adversity and challenges on your own. You're going to need to be, your coping skills are going to be dependent on another person. That's not right. So I would say learn to sit to become comfortable in the uncomfortable, and when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that goes for ghosting, benching, baiting, I don't have to say bookmarking, and let me tell you also, blocking people is not bad. Blocking people is not a bad thing. I've blocked a lot of people because the thing is, what happens is, there's a card that I have that says blocking someone, it's a boundary, and it's a good boundary, because what happens is that there will be people who will test your boundaries. They will push your boundaries. Like, you'll put a boundary and you'll say, hey, what's a good example? With communication and stuff. You tell someone, hey, I really wish we would talk more. I feel like we don't talk as much, and I'm really big on communication and consistency, and I notice that we don't have that. And let's say they ghost you after that, or they leave you whatever on red, and then they come back a week later, a month later. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was trying to figure things out in my life, and what you said to me, I didn't know if I was really wanting the same thing, but I'm here, I'm back, or whatever. Or, no, that's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, that means that they don't respect you enough they didn't treat you right the first time, that maybe they won't treat you right the second. And like I said before, the whole video was, can red flags turn green? It really does depend on the person and their maturity level. Sometimes people go through a transformation. Sometimes people have a spiritual awakening. Sometimes they're like, I see the light. I got it. The light bulb is like, boom, empathy, kindness, compassion, respect, boom, And other times they'll fake that and they'll pretend to do that just to get something out of you. Nope. It would take a lot. It would take a phone call. It would take conversation. It would take consistency in communication. So a red flag is a red flag for a reason. We have them. There's red flags, white flags, green flags. So I suggest that you know you best, and giving mercy to somebody, giving people a second chance. I do believe in second chances. I do. I don't believe in second chances if someone's abusive towards you, like narcissistic abuse, like physical abuse, or emotional abuse. I don't really think that's... Now, if someone, let's say, a good example is, let's say someone was separated from somebody. Let's say you're talking a guy and girl example. Like, the guy is on the outs with his girlfriend, right? or he doesn't know what he wants in a relationship, right? Like, he's on the outs. He, when he met you, he was like separated. He was, whatever. And so he was kind of indecisive or wishy-washy. He didn't really give you, like, he gave you the bare minimum. He showed some interest, but not a lot of interest. If that happens, is it okay to, like, resurrect that? I think there would need to, and here's the other thing. Let's say they didn't tell you about that. Like, let's say they said, yeah, I broke up with my person, or I'm separated from them, and whatever, and they're not, like I said, they're giving the bare minimum. Maybe you separate, you stop talking, whatever, and then they come back or whatever. I would say that listen to your gut, because what could happen is they could become codependent on you, and you could be fully, mature and healed, whatever, and then they become codependent on you and they latch onto you, or they can be prone to developing the same pattern of communication, which means that they can come into your life, and then just as quickly as they came into it, they get out of it, and that's not fair to you. That's toxic, that's abusive, that's narcissistic. You don't want that. But I do think people do deserve second chances, but it would take a hell of a lot of emotional maturity on their end to be able to say, hey, I fucked up. That's accountability. Here's another thing. Here's a really important thing. If a man takes accountability of their actions, keep that motherfucker. Can I say motherfucker? Keep that person. I know that's really derogatory. I do curse like a sailor. I apologize. Keep that person around, because that means that there's room for growth. And here's the thing too. Nobody's going to be perfect. Nobody's going to be fully healed. Nobody's going to be like the star pupil boyfriend or girlfriend. Nobody. That's just not possible. It doesn't happen. So I would say that show mercy, in the sense you give him a chance, but at the slightest inclination, the slightest hint that you see, hey, there's a lull in consistent communication, boom. Like that's it. And you need to delineate, especially if it's someone from the past or an ex or something, you need to delineate and say, hey, why are you reaching out to me? Because given our context of our connection from previously, why are you reaching out? Are you seeking companionship? Are you looking for friendship? Are you looking to date romantically for a relationship? Because that's going to eliminate all the ambiguity. Because the reason why there's tension and arguments in relationships and stuff is because people don't address the elephant in the room. They're afraid to get deep. They're afraid to be authentic. They're afraid to take accountability. Authenticity and accountability are so effing attractive, especially as a woman. If I see a man and he's like, yeah, I messed up, I'm so sorry, I didn't know what I wanted at that time, that to me I think is so attractive, because it's like, I don't know, that's just my opinion. So and that's why I say go for the gold. And are second chances necessary? Maybe, depending on the context of the connection or the relationship. So again, I hope this helps. And remember, nobody's perfect. Give grace to yourself, but also don't accept anything less than what you deserve. And that goes if you're in a relationship already with somebody. Because if you wake up each morning and you're miserable, dump that. Either get therapy and talk to that person, or dump their butt. Because if they're not helping you grow, if they're not helping you expand and thrive in some way, shape, or form, that's at least for me. I always say the people that I want to surround myself with are people that help, that support me in my growth, that expand my consciousness and awareness, and bring joy and light to my life. People that I can have great conversations with. Also, in terms of romance, great sex with. That's just me. I don't know about you. And what does that mean? Great sex. That means, like, there's a chemistry, there's good vibes, there's authenticity, there's respect, right? There's consent, obviously. That's what I think will make for a great experience. So, yeah. I hope that helps. And forgive yourself if you don't get it right and you meet a frog and you kiss the wrong guy or you marry the wrong girl. It's not like there's no rule book. No one's keeping score. You do it over. you know, you say, hey, this is not working for me. You can get divorced, you can get separated. You know, that's why I do take dating very seriously, because, and I'm very clear about what I want, whether it's like, oh, I want to do something casual or I want something serious or whatever, because, you know, life's too short to settle for any, life's too short to not go after what you want, you know, even if you're 50 or 60 or 70 years old and you're ready for a change or you're not happy, you owe it to yourself to be happy. You owe it to yourself when you're ready to pass on to the next form, whatever that is, or depart this earth. You want to look back in your life and be like, man, I had some really great times and good memories, and I was so happy that I was able to find a partnership with somebody who really loves me for me and values me and respects me. That's what I would, I mean, that's for me. That's what I don't know. Other people, when they pass away, they might be like, oh, I got to go to Ibiza on my yacht. I don't know. Or I got to have sex with 100 women. Or whatever. I don't know. Men and women. I don't know. For me, that's not really the case. I'd rather look back and be like, man, I helped a lot of people. I fell in love. I fell out of love. And I fell back in love again. And hopefully, you know, one day I will be able to say, yeah, I met the right person along the way. That would be really cool, you know. But you never know. It takes time. And sometimes God will, because I'm a faithful person, I go, God will keep you isolated for a reason, because maybe God knows that there are wolves in sheep's clothing. Maybe he knows that someone may not have the best interest for you at heart. And you may take it like, oh no, but I'm alone. No one wants me. I'm not attractive. No. You are attractive. You are important. You are capable. It's just maybe that person couldn't meet you where you're at. Or, you know, maybe you do have some more tending to do and growth. Right? So, yeah. Ghosting, benching, baiting, breadcrumbing. Can red flags turn green? I do think they can, but with immense growth, immense self-awareness, and immense transformation and maturity. And ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, depending on how someone treats you, like, you know, you're the best assessor of someone's behavior and actions. And if you're someone who hasn't studied psychology, I encourage you. There's probably plenty of free psychology classes. Go on Coursera. Go look at Khan Academy, Khan. I'm sure there's stuff about psychology there. Go enroll in a intro to sociology or intro to psychology class. You will learn so much. And also be a server, because you learn a lot from serving about people. You meet people from all walks of life, and people will treat you like shit. And then you grow thick skin, and you're like, nothing can hurt me. Boop, boop. It's like duck off a water's back. So with that being said, I do need to eat something, because I feel my blood sugars. I need to use the restroom. So happy Saturday, or whatever day it is. Have a wonderful, lovely day. And yeah. If you garnered something or learned something from my video, maybe like make a comment. Even if again, someone might watch this 5 years down the line, and I don't care. 10 years, 15, 20 years, I don't care. Whatever it is, if what I said helped you in some way, it'd be really cool. Maybe you leave a comment, or you you know, share your experiences. Because I'm someone who I like to learn from other people's experiences. I'm very much of an observer, and a lot of the knowledge and wisdom that I've accrued over time has been because I took a seat back and I watched and I observed other people's relationships unfold or fall apart or get back together or whatever, and I developed my own conclusions and assumptions about that. So maybe sometimes it's better to sit back and observe and stay silent versus, you know, move forward. So yeah, and everyone's a work in progress. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Anything else I wish to say? But yeah, I think a red flag can turn green, but there's a lot of change and a lot of growth and maturity that has to happen to do that. I don't condone domestic violence. I don't condone narcissistic abuse. But if people do go to therapy, if a guy, like I said, or a woman can take accountability for their actions and say, hey, yeah, I messed up. I'm so sorry. I should have treated you better. But here's the thing though, actions speak louder than words. You can have, I've been in situations where I've had people reach out to me, back out to me, and they're like, I'm so sorry, I should have, whatever, you were really good to me. And then the next day they went MIA or they ghosted me, and they repeated the same pattern. And then I went back and I was like, okay, no, you don't want to do that at all. That is negative territory. that is not good for your growth and development. You want to make sure that they're backing that with action. So you have your words. So integrity is when your actions and your words align. So if what someone says and they go, oh, they take accountability, they say they're sorry, they apologize, but then they back it with action, and they're like, and they show up for you, and they're there for you, and they support you, they call you, they do the video chat with you, they check up on you, they follow it, they back it with action, boom, and they're consistent about it, then that means, my friend, you have a keeper. So, and that means you're a lucky gal or a lucky man, because maturity is something that does come, I think, with time, and it comes from lived experiences and lessons learned. So, if you meet someone with emotional intelligence and self-awareness, keep that person, because that's somebody that's going to be open to growth versus keeping a narrow mindset of thinking, oh, this is the way it's going to be and that's it. So, hope that helps somebody. Yay! Oh, look, there's fireworks! Is that going to show up? I don't know. But if it does, that'd be pretty cool.